We thought that we were long away from the age of people running up on each other and taking their shit whenever and however we wanted. We became more modern, civilized, and structured, and we realized, yeah, depriving already starving children of their last loaf of bread isn't really the brightest of ideas to have. Of course we built them infrastructure, roads, canals, irrigation, and transportation networks. But let's be honest, it wasn't really for their survival. It was so we could squeeze the last drops of their blood more efficiently without wasting our precious imperial time because of these brokies not having roads or having pathways on which the deliveries get robbed by Abdullah or someone. You can't steal from us. We do the stealing. Got it? Anyways, it was a matter of time when people caught up to this bullshit and told the British to fuck off by, of course, killing each other first, then realizing that we were the problem. And by that time, John, or whoever, left his line of coke on the map, and they thought these were these colonially established borders. Dumbasses. Leaving them with nothing to eat and wear wasn't a big concern. It is just history. The strong eat, and poor are left to figure shit out on their own accord. But whatever. The British left, and sooner or later they figured some shit out on their own and established some, well, semi-societies, if you could really call them that. But it is what it is, who gives a fuck? Things settled really after World War II, and the British went on a historic losing streak, getting 99% of its area chipped by countries just telling the British to piss off, Nate. And that was it. And after it seemed like imperialism was cooked and over, but really it was just more privatized. Of course, who wouldn't want more land added to their territories? The British folded under no pressure, and partly because of their own tomfoolery and infighting they caused, and didn't care about them enough until shit got out of hand, and at that point, the only thing left to do was leave. America kept expanding its influence more strategically, and it learned that it was better to control governments and overthrow elections, kill leaders, sponsor freedom fighters, and a couple invasions here and there to keep its influence rolling. I mean, it got absolutely clapped in some circumstances, like Vietnam, Iraq, which are both basic but historic fumbles in their own regards, but we'll cover them some other time. Anyways. Europe exists in its current form because the United States showed up when the situation was already cooked. By 1941, most of the continent was either occupied, bombed flat, starving, or just learning to give up under the mustache man. The US literally pulled Europe out of that shithole and gave them a fighting chance. American factories produced more tanks, planes, trucks, ammunition, food and fuel than all Axis powers combined. Lend-Lease kept Britain breathing when its economy was on life support. Shipping everything from rifles to locomotives was given to prevent falling and becoming another shitfest. American Liberty ships crossed the Atlantic faster than German U-boats could sink them. It turned the oceans into something the Europeans could actually use, for once, without getting their asses sunk to the bottom. Then there was the manpower. Over 2 million American troops landed in Europe, cracked out on D-Day, and forced Germany to fight a two-front war it could not mathematically win. American air power did what it is now known for doing best: bombing infrastructure. Even after the war, the US didn't leave Europe to rot. The Marshall Plan rebuilt it, stabilized currencies, prevented mass starvation, and stopped the continent from sliding straight into communist chaos. Modern Europe isn't an ancient destiny. It's a post-war American project that somehow worked for once. But it resulted in this. Europe really struggles to stand on its own nowadays. It relies too much on America for defending itself. its military budget doesn't come close to America because they actually spent that money building their countries, healthcare, roads, and all that useless stuff that you are supposed to, instead of becoming an industrial war machine, while people are left to become drug addicts, homeless, and shooting each other up, while nobody gets the blame. America mogs European defense so hard that NATO without the US would be a logo, a conference room, and a strong opinion. The United States covers roughly 2/3 of total NATO military spending, while most European states spent decades failing to hit even the basic 2% GDP target they agreed to. America provides the backbone tech: nuclear deterrence, missile defense, AWACS surveillance planes, satellite intelligence, GPS, cyber infrastructure, stealth aircraft, precision-guided munitions, and the logistics systems that actually move armies instead of just tweeting about them. And of course, other countries have nukes in NATO, but who really wants to fight with America? America is the main deterrent. US bases across Germany, Italy, Poland, and the UK act as a permanent security foundation. American troops, American command structures, American early warning systems. Even Europe's independent military operations usually rely on US refueling, targeting data, and transport aircraft. And yes, America does this for itself. Europe is a massive economic partner, a forward operating zone, and a geopolitical buffer against Russia. Protecting Europe isn't charity. It's like paying your insurance. America pays the premium because if Europe collapses, well, then shit is not good for America also.
I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now.
After several rounds of bullying and bossing around, he only got a small portion of what he was asking for. And looking at the response of the market and the world, he quickly scaled it down due to people not buying his shit. And Trump has a history of chickening out from any big ambitions that he preaches about, because he doesn't like being under pressure or losing support of the people in general. Apart from the geopolitical importance of Greenland, Trump also wanted it for his pride, so he could go down as one of the very few presidents to expand America's territory. And he kind of goes with this framework. To think he only tried it for that is very likely, but we got to look deeper into it. China and Russia aren't eyeing Greenland because Putin and Xi are part-time ice hockey champs. I mean, they could be, who knows? Greenland sits on Arctic shipping lanes, rare earth minerals, uranium, missile trajectories, and early warning radar paths that point straight at North America. China calls itself a near-Arctic state and has pushed investments into ports, mining, and infrastructure to gain leverage. Russia, meanwhile, has militarized the Arctic, reopening Soviet-era bases, deploying hypersonic missiles, and treating the polar region like its own front yard. From Greenland, you don't just watch the Arctic, you control access to it. That's why the US already has bases there, and why Washington gets pissed when research projects start looking like soft takeovers. I mean, looking at the stuff the US has done in the past, it kind of knows what they're all up to. That's why the US doesn't want more bases or troops. It wants full control, so it could push Russia and China the fuck off its own land and control it fully. And yeah, maybe it doesn't give the best optics, and is not the most ideal way shit is being handled right now. But looking at the bigger picture of it all, it kind of makes sense why a country like America would do it. Because if China gets to control it, or Russia, then it becomes a direct threat to the US. I mean, it is one of the main reasons Alaska was purchased, to create a buffer between Russia and the mainland US. Think of it as something similar to that, but in the opposite way, in preventing China and Russia from taking it. And when either of these countries get their claws deep into Greenland, it would be impossible to take them out. And it would slightly begin to poke at the geographic advantage America has had for nearly the entirety of its history, being cut off from nearly everyone and not being in range of anyone. Trump kind of made a shit show that led to nowhere. If America does get all of Greenland, well, what are you going to do? Sanction them? No. Fight them? No. I mean, they run Europe's military apparatus to a great extent. America has grown too much, so that now it thinks it can just maul anybody it wants. And realistically, countries can talk shit, but they can't really do anything about it. It is, to an extent, their fault for letting America control them so much, that when it wants to take their land, that you've had for over 300 years, you can't really do anything other than telling them no. And if they take it by force, well, you get nothing. If they are paying you, then it kind of seems reasonable compared to the risk of beefing with America.